Hey team, Mark McGurn here. I am just going to be doing some quick fading and just kind of want to walk through a little bit of my process. I got a couple 8-scale bodies that I want to go through, but just kind of want to share kind of how my process works. One thing, if it's not in your arsenal, is just some basic isopropyl alcohol. This is 50%. I ran out of my 90%. I have found the 90% actually works a little bit better. But what I do here is just put it in my cup. And I like the kind that's got the little nozzle at the end. There's less waste. And so I've actually already sprayed these, and I forgot that I was going to do this. And so I'm still going to just spray one into this real quick. What you're doing is spraying where you're painting. So I'm going to be painting this clear here. And the reason I'm using the isopropyl alcohol is to help those ghost marks, that static electricity. The higher the percentage, this is 50%. I just ran out of my 90% yesterday. So anyways, I'm using that for now. It's better than nothing. And what that does is prevent your ghost farts. And then you just put in there, spit it out, and call it a day. Another thing I like to use is these quick connects. They are a lifesaver if you don't have those. I've found some cheap ones on Amazon. To be honest, they do last a while. About a year, but then they go bad. My Iwatas, I guess they're made a little bit of higher quality. I don't seem to have that problem. So from here, I am shooting, all right, what does that say? About 35% PS, or 35%, 35 to 40 PSI. Actually, I think it's 40 right now. Once I hit it, it'll drop. Hopefully my compressor won't kick on. It is a California air. It's kind of quiet, but not really. So here, the key here is I would use a thinner nozzle. And so the thinner nozzle, if I was going to do some points, like I got some stuff here. So at this point, what I'm going to do is just use my normal HPCS Eclipse. It goes down a little thicker, and I don't have to worry about getting super tight fades. So, and that's actually, I can tell that's too much PSI. It's going to put too much air down, and it'll pool up. So I can just tell by, there we go. I always kind of test it first to make sure it's not, I'm not going to hit it right at the start. So let me sit there and go. And one thing I do on these points is I don't wrap it around, meaning I don't go shh, shh, right? Because what happens is when you do that, you go all the way around, these points right here get pooled up and get darker. So I always kind of let off the air as I'm going down. So that's kind of what you're seeing there. I know it's not really showing you, but what I'm doing, I'm not doing the entire color and coat on this first pass. The reason being is I want to give it something to stick and go from there. I'm still not going to that point. My tip is getting a little dry, so you can kind of tell there's less air coming out, and just that will kind of clear up that clog. Another reason I'm using my 0.35 versus my 0.2 is I'm using a Chroma Air, right? And that's actually a little thicker And some guys like to thin their paint. I don't thin if I don't have to. That's my personal preference. The reason being, I don't like doing it. So there's not a, I found I can get the same effect I want and get my spray without thinning them out. All right, so another little clog, still clog. Now I got a little bit of a clog, yep. So what I'm gonna do here is I can tell I'm getting some dry tip. I don't know if it's hard to tell. So I just pull this off, do a little pull, and call it a day. Now put this back on, don't drop it. And boom. All right. Since it's not super thick, all right, I've gone around the body. I'm not worried about the paint being dry to go through again. Since it's a super light layer, I can tell the paint's actually pretty much already dry on this other side. Now I'm kind of going over my final, and I can do this if you're still getting a little clogged, just backflow it, put your finger on there, and call it a day. A little more paint. And comes out perfectly. So I see that a lot. Some guys try to do all that paint in that very first pass. And you can get it on a little too thick. And the key is just light passes. We always need less paint than sometimes we realize. And on these points, I'm trying to get a little more of a point with the fade, not a tight one, but I don't want it rounded when I've got these are more pointy cuts. And this second pass also ensures you kind of get the coverage you want. Helps you, if you got little mistakes, helps you kind of fix those. There we go. And that's kind of what it looks like. Again, nothing crazy video, just thought I'd share. I've got a white pinstripe that's going to be go against this. So this is going to be white with a white pinstripe. So I left that down there. And what I did there was I didn't cut the pinstripe till just now, or right before this. The reason being is I don't want any of this gray or black or anything getting into that pinstripe. And since it's the very last one that I do, I usually cut all my pinstripes, paint all my pinstripes at the start. But since this is the last color, I'm doing a white pinstripe. I'm painting white at the last, right? I do that cut last. And so I kind of hold it up and everything looks good. Yeah, looks pretty darn good. So I'm not gonna peel the pinstripe and have you guys watch my other one, do my other body. But yeah, that's kind of how I do a little bit of fading on my pinstripes. Again, if I was going to be doing more of a point that I had to go down to, I would use a 0.2 airbrush. But for stuff like that, 0.3, and I'm using a thicker viscosity paint. Some guys might say to thin it. I don't. So, all right, guys, thanks so much. All right, so I've got the pinstripes peeled, both bodies done, ready to roll. So I just wanted to briefly go over kind of where I see maybe some guys can learn a couple things is painting, you know, some opaque colors or really anything. It's all about light coats. And so I want to show you, I'm clear here to kind of show you what my first coat looks like. And what you're doing is, by going light, is it's sticking to the body and you're creating kind of a base layer for that. So let's go here. And I see I got some liquid mask, some remnant right here. You can kind of see that. I don't know if you can. But yeah, so that's my first coat. And then what I do here is just, I've got a hair dryer on the ground, and I set it down. Actually, I'll just show you. I just put it like that and throw it there. And that's it. All right, I'll do another base layer and I'll stick. Just really light, and more liquid mask I didn't peel. Peel, but stuck. There you go. Obviously I usually use a mask, but for this, I don't. With these already pre-cut bodies, sometimes that liquid mask gets on that lip. Just gotta watch that. All right, so now that's done. And since it's so light, it's already dry, right? So, I'm gonna go again, and especially with opaque blacks and whites, you don't need as much as you think. This is a nitro body, so I'll probably go a little thicker than I would like a on-road body, or sorry, electric touring car body. 12 scale, things where it's super duper important to ensure that it's light. You don't increase that center of gravity. And make sure you watch the mold lines, that you get paint into the mold lines, like right here on the side. Make sure you do that. Just kind of twist the body around. Just kind of hitting spots that need a little bit more, but we're really close. All right. I mean, I do have an exhaust in here, so that helps. You not have to wear a mask here. If I was in a closed environment, I wouldn't be doing this because this white would be everywhere. And this third coat should be good. I'm probably gonna go a touch thicker just to ensure I got the coverage on. Not only by going thinner, right, does it make the body lighter, or you know, a lighter first coat, you're also ensuring less cracking, or if someone gets a wreck, the paint flakes off, because you're giving that good face layer. Anytime I've had paint flake off, it's because on a customer's body or my own, it's because that I put one big thick layer or two big thick layers, and I didn't, you know, set it up right to where the paint is not super, doesn't adhere to the body as well. You can kind of see this is a little thicker, but I got a good base layer on there, so I'm not worried about that. Alright. So, alright. And that hair dryer helps a ton, just to ensure between rounds it's all dry. Just kind of speeds up the process. And since this is a nitro body, I'm going to back it with this guy. Okay. I'm going to not spray this on that Rust-Oleum right at the start, or right after I'm done. I'm going to give these bodies some time to cure, this paint to cure. That way it's not going to interact with this paint when it's not fully dry. And there we go, all done. So, yeah, that's it. So, hope you enjoyed and hope you learned a couple things. Thanks, guys.